Depending on the products you sell, in Q4, you could be taking between 25 to 50% of your yearly turnover. In this week's episode of Start Scale Succeed, I'm going to take you through how to get focused on Q4 and share with you some tips and tactics that I've used in my 20 years in buying, strategy, and product development in retail, working for the likes of Primark, George, and Asda, and also M&S. I've also created a useful guide which you can download along with this episode and use as a checklist to help you through, which you can find in the show notes, or you can DM me the word Xmas on my Instagram at the Bar and Retail Coach, and I will send you a link straight to it. Here, when I am talking about Q4, I'm referring to October to December. And you may not be a Christmas or a gifting focused brand, but then think of this as the time when you are your busiest. You're busy, your peak selling period. Now, the best time to plan for Christmas and your Q4 is essentially in January, just after you finish your peak trading period. So everything is fresh in your mind. I'm going to assume that you haven't done that, or even if you have, you can use this as a reminder, and just that, even if you have, you can use this as a reminder and a reassurance that you are on the right track. First off, before moving forward, you're going to review and reflect and look at what are your lessons learned. And this is something that I would have done as a buyer before when I was planning the next season. So take some time and pull your data from October to December, month by month, and have a look at your sales, your marketing, your ads, your PR. Set aside some time, no distractions, to focus on this. And this planning now is really going to help you in the months ahead. Look at what worked well and what didn't work so well. What can you learn from that? What do you want to do differently this year? So some of the things that you might want to look at: what categories worked well? So with a category, if you are selling accessories, you might be selling bags, scarves, jewelry. Within that, what were the categories that worked well? What were your best selling products within those categories, and what were your worst selling products? And then have a look at what have you bought this year. Have you bought your best selling types of products? Have you bought too much of your worst selling types of products? What were your best selling products and what were your worst selling products? When did you launch Christmas? Was it too early? Was it too late? If you did launch it and it took off straight away, then probably you could have launched it a little bit earlier. What Christmas markets or pop-ups did you do? Which were profitable and which are the ones you want to do again? And make sure that you have those booked in. If you didn't do those in 2023, what are the ones that you could do, or who could you collaborate with to do some in-person events? Customers really want that human connection and are craving that in-person connection. So if you don't have events or pop-ups planned, then think about what you could do. If there's nothing that you feel is suitable, perhaps you could create your own and the other brands that you could collaborate with and leverage from their audience as well. Have a look at your marketing and your promotions. What drove traffic to the site? What converted? What was your email marketing like at the time? What was the open rate? What was the conversion rate? What was the click-through rate? What were the things that really resonated with your customer, but then also drove sales? If you sell brands, what brands worked well? Have you bought enough of that based on last year's sales? And are you able to go back in and top up in season if needed, rather than you holding all of the stock before you hit your peak selling period? How are you feeling around this time? What was stressful for you, and what was causing that stress? And what are the things that you can do differently this time to alleviate or even eliminate that? And then think about the things that, what kept you up at night? What caused you that stress? And what can you put in place this year to make sure that doesn't happen again? I think out of 10, how happy were you with your performance last Q4? What could have made it better, both personally and professionally? And then when you think about what you would like to do differently, look at what you can control and focus only really on what you can control. So things like your customer service, your fulfillment. Think about what people do you need to bring in and when do you need to bring them in to your business for the support that you might need. And when can you put that in place this year so that on Christmas Eve, you're sitting back having your drink of choice rather than doing your last minute Christmas shopping. So just going back to sales and products for a minute. You've pulled all your data, you know what worked, you know what didn't. And then I want you to think about when do you want to launch your Christmas products and your gifting products. Stats show that people are shopping earlier than ever for Christmas. And in some retailers in the corporate world, 25% of retailers are giving a nod to Christmas as early as September. majority, 57%, really going for it then in October, like straight after Halloween. And if you are a business that is also focused on Halloween or has Halloween themed products, then focus on that up to Halloween. And then your Christmas should launch straight after that. But still, you might want to give little nods to things that are happening on your email list to what is coming forward for Christmas. But you don't want to exhaust your customer with tinsel and turkey. So, depending on your business, you might start giving sneak peeks of products, like I said, in September to then launch between October and early November. And also, if you think about this year and financially, customers may need to spread the cost of their Christmas shopping. So they may be shopping earlier as well and are very grateful to you for having products available or reminding them. So they're buying some in September, some in October, rather than everything happening in the month of December. So you've decided when you're going to launch, and I want you to set yourself sales goals and targets. Look at the number of orders in the units you were selling last year and how you're currently trading, and what kind of uplift do you expect in the run up to Christmas, and what does that look like from an order point of view, and can you cope with that? If you're currently trading 2% up on last year, that is likely to continue and more than likely to increase quite significantly depending on your products that you have available and your marketing activities. So you're going to have to take some educated assumptions. So some of the things you might be looking at was, if you sold out of products, what was the missed potential of those products if they didn't have any internal competition? So for example, you sold an amazing Christmas candle and you'd nothing else like that in the range, and you were selling 50 a week and it was making you £1,000 a week, but you sold that out in 4 weeks. So if you'd had another 4 weeks worth of stock, so then you'd make another £4,000 for that time period. So then you need to think about, right, okay, well, actually, I need to order another 200 units. So I've got product that I know is going to last that long for my 8 weeks in total. And then I want you to think about what were the key products that drove your sales. And there is something that's called the Pareto rule, which is 80% of your revenue actually just comes from 20% of your stock. So do you have enough stock of those key products or an update of those for this year? If you've got something that is Christmas specific themed, you want to keep that tight and think to yourself, right, how many of these do I think I'm going to sell a week, and how many weeks do I want to have this product on sale? So for example, if we stay with the candle example, you might have a cinnamon and cranberry candle and you want to sell 20 a week and you want it on sale for 5 weeks. So you're going to buy 5. So you sell 20 a week, you want it on sale for 5 weeks, you're going to buy an average of 100. So say when it comes to it and you're selling that candle, and instead of selling 20 a week, you're only selling 10 a week. So instead of having it on sale for 5 weeks, based on it selling that way, you're going to have it on sale for 10 weeks. So then what I would like to do in a situation like that is you give it what I call a little tickle. You give it a small promotion so that you're taking 15 to 20% off it in the right selling season and when there's still a demand for it, rather than you having to take 50% off, so a larger markdown and a large amount of stock after Christmas. So that 15 to 20%, you might just do that for the weekend, and that just helps alleviate the kind of glut of stock that you've accumulated by not selling it as predicted as you would. So what are the things also, if you think about your website, that you've got in place to drive more sales, and how are you going to increase your average order value? So maybe you have free shipping over a certain threshold. Have you also got you may also like products? So those linked products, if they buy a certain item, what are the complementary items that are going to add to that? So they are going to add more products to their basket. What can you do that means that they are going to put more items in their basket so that you can increase your average order value? And also just doing some housekeeping, making sure you've got all your abandoned cart flow set up and your abandoned browse. There are going to be a lot of people just browsing, shopping, particularly kind of around Black Friday and looking at what is the best deal. So make sure that you have all those set up. You might also send more reminders than you normally would at this period of time as well, because there's a lot of distractions. So you know your data, you know what you need to sell, you've set yourself a target, you know how many you're going to bring in and how many weeks on sale this product you want these products to have. I want you to think about the types of products that you're going to have, and also what are the new items that you're going to add in. So you'll have covered your bestsellers. What are the new items, the updates, maybe the little cherries on the top that you are going to add into your range? And how do you know what is trending and what the customer is going to want? So how do you choose your best products? Like I said, 80% of your turnover is going to come from 20% of your range. And what are going to be those cherries on top as well? So you want to understand what is trending, what your customer wants. So from a trending point of view, you're thinking about what is happening culturally, socially, in film, in music. What is your customer influenced by? What are celebrities doing? What is happening with film? Like I said, what is happening if you're a fashion business, what was happening on the catwalks, what is happening on TikTok, what is happening on social media, what are people interested in, and what is happening for them socially. So if you think a very obvious example, and I know this wasn't at Christmas time, but if you think when the Barbie movie came out, there was so much around pink and Barbie mania and all of that. So if you had those kind of products, then that would a way that you could market those. From a social point of view, people may be feeling the pinch a little bit more from a financial point of view. So you might be creating blogs or posts that are about gifts that won't break the bank. You might decide to introduce Klarna or buy now pay later. Looking at trends, there's a few places where you can find out what is actually trending. So Pinterest for Business is good. WGSN is a great website. It is a website you have to pay for, but they do really good emails that are free if you sign up for their emails. Another one is Fashion Snoops. And so there's quite a lot that you can find out about what is trending and what is on trend. Other things as well, like if you just use Google and you can put in Christmas plus fashion trends or Christmas plus trends, and you can see what is happening from a customer spending point of view, or you can put in customer behavior plus Christmas, and you'll get some results back from that. But also use your audience, and you might want to ask them to fill in a quick survey about how much they're planning on spending this Christmas. What are they going to be spending on? Who are they going to be buying for? What products are they looking out for? What are their favorite brands? You can do that very easy by using a Google form survey between 10 and 12 questions, multiple choice, make it really easy, and giving them a reward for that information so that you can get real feedback of what your customer is feeling, what they are hoping to buy later on in the season. Will they be gifting products for themselves? What kind of things do they want? All of that is really useful information for you to use to help with your marketing and the products that you are choosing. And now, still on products, I want you to think about your products and the prices of your products. So in retail, and when I was a buyer, what we would look at what is our price architecture. So we would refer to this as your good, better, and best, and essentially your entry price point, your mid price point, and your exit price point. Generally, you would have more products at that good price point, then slightly less products at your better price point, and then less again at your best price point. So if we stay with the candle idea, imagine your entry price point, so your good price point, is a votive that you might sell for under £20. So it's a small votive, you might sell it for under £20. Then your average price point of your next size candle is about 30. So your good price range is between 20 and £30. And you have quite a broad range of products that are available within that. Then you will go to your better price point. And your better price point might be a candle and a diffuser set. It might be a trio of votives that are retailing for 50. And it might be a slightly larger candle size. Yeah, with me so far? And then you might get to your best candle, so your best price point. And that might be your 3-wick massive candle, that you probably only do in, say, if you have 5 cents, you do in your 2 best-selling fragrances. So your 2 best-selling scents. So you might only have 2 actual options that are in that best, But for those people that want to trade up, they know so and so loves your brand and they want to buy them a very nice gift for Christmas, but they feel they don't want to get them the votives. It might be for the mother-in-law or their own mother, and they're going to buy them this beautiful 3-wick candle, and they're going to spend over £100 on it. So like I say, refer back to that again. In your good price point, you generally have probably your volume of products. Then you'd have better, you'd have slightly less, and then best, you'd have less again. Okay, so I hope that is clear. So have a look at your price points of your products, and do you have enough in that lower price point bracket so that there's less of a consideration that has to go into the purchase of it? It might be more of a pickup price point. It might be an impulse. It might be, if they've not tried your brand before, this is what they're going to buy first, to get a little taste of your brand. If they're buying something for a gift, but they don't want to spend that much money on it, this is the kind of thing that they would go to. So then your better is slightly more expensive, and then your best is more expensive again. So like I said, in this candle range, good might be 20 to 30, better would be maybe like the 50 to 70 price point, and then best might be 70 to 100 or 120 or 150, but there'd be a much smaller amount of those best in comparison to what you would have at the good price point. Now, from an e-commerce point of view, I'm assuming that everyone listening has an e-commerce site. So deciding when you are launching Christmas and then planning in when you're going to make the changes on your site is key as well. So you are working towards that. Particularly if you have a lot of products that you need to upload, that you are planning that in your diary. When your web banners are going to change. You've created collections, so gifts for under a certain amount, or gifts for the yoga lover, gifts for the gin lover, whatever it might be. You've created those collections and you've tagged the products that you need. And you've categorized everything that you need. Check everything is working and it's properly on your site. Maybe get a friend to shop it and test that customer journey and make sure everything is flowing well. And then make any tweaks to product descriptions from a seasonality point of view. So if you think from an SEO, what are people going to be searching for? Does your product fit into that? So can you put that then in your product description? Like we said about those you may also likes, what have you got set up to drive conversion? Do they make sense? And also things like updating your shipping dates and last posted dates before Christmas. So you might want to add that into an FAQ. You might want to put it as a pop-up near to Christmas. And also you might consider extending your return period over Christmas as well. So just make these things really obvious in your FAQ. And also think about what blogs that you want to create. So if we think back to, if people are thinking about, they're more conscious of spending, it might be 10 gifts that won't break the bank this Christmas, or 5 gifts for the yoga lover in your life. They're going to help drive traffic to your website and hopefully then help with your conversion. So in the run up to Christmas and the run up to Q4, you really want to be focused on building your audience. And the more you can do now to build your social media following, to build your email list, is going to help you in the long run. So putting the work now into your email list, make sure you're getting people to subscribe, you're mentioning it on your socials, you might do competitions, collaborations. All these things are going to help, like I said, for later on in the season. And you might remind people on socials you're doing special deals just for your subscribers as a further incentive for them to sign up. And you might be doing, like I said, the competitions, the collabs, leveraging other people's audience to grow your own list. If you are doing events, whether that's pop-ups or markets, make sure you're collecting email addresses at those events. You can set up a simple form, get them to tick the box that they'll subscribe, and get them to put their email list or their email on your laptop while you're there. If not, pen and paper. Get them to write down their email list, knowing though that you've got some kind of disclaimer at the top by giving your email that you will be added to a list and subscribing to your newsletter or whatever it might be. So you want to have all that planned in as well in terms of your emails and your social media, and getting as organized as you can in advance, so that when it comes to November, December, and you're in the thick of it, you are focusing purely on your sales, on driving sales and showing up and being visible and your customer service. So you're thinking about, when you're planning this out, are you going to develop gift guides for your social media and your marketing? How many emails do you plan on sending out? What's going to be your main message in each of those? Are you going to do ads? What are you testing now so that you can be focused in peak? If you're going to do a Christmas shoot, when are you going to get the Christmas photography from the other brands that you might sell, so that you can use that and have that loaded up onto the website? And just also thinking from a logistics and operational point of view, what postal service are you going to use? Checking out the prices, what are your delivery timelines going to be? Are there some customer service templates that you can use so that you've got them ready to send out for people who are chasing orders, trying to track a parcel? What does your team look like? So, if you know that you're going to have a certain amount of orders based on how you're currently selling and what you expect that to uplift, and you're not going to be able to manage that, what support are you going to take on board that is going to help you at that time? Are you going to outsource your fulfillment? Or are you going to bring someone in-house that's going to help you? Also, if you do use a fulfillment partner, have you advised them, okay, this is probably going to be my uplift, so that they can plan accordingly as well. And just think about where you are packing from. If you are picking and packing at home, have you got that area set up? Is it as seamless as it needs to be? Have you got enough of your branded tissue? Have you got your your branded tape, your branded boxes, whatever it might be? Doing that kind of stock take now and checking the levels of packaging now, so that you can order things, because sometimes packaging can have a long lead time, so that you have them ready for you when it all kicks off, hopefully later on for you. Now, I know I've mostly focused on those who have an established business and have data to look back on from a sales point of view, but the e-commerce, the logistics and the operational stuff, that all still stands. But don't worry, if this is your first Q4, then use the sales data that you currently have, about what is working and what isn't. What are the kind of products that work well? What are the price points that work well? Set yourself a target based on what you are currently doing, but then with an average increase as you see that tracking. And then this may be more depending on new launches that you've got, new product types that you have, how hard you're driving your visibility, and so it is, if it is your first Q4, you're going to do a lot of testing and trying to seeing what works, but still focusing on your key bestsellers and driving your messaging, and focusing on your key bestsellers and making sure that you have enough stock of those, doing little promotions on things that are slow so that you're freeing up cash in the business and you're promoting and things at the right time, rather than kind of waiting till the end of December to try and get rid of maybe a Christmas themed product. You really don't want to be doing that, because you're gonna have to be marking it down by like 50 to 70%, rather than if you're doing it at the right time to maybe just tickling a little bit with 10 and 15 to 20% off. So I know I've gone through quite a lot of points there, but don't forget, I have created a Q4 planning guide. So the link to that is in the show notes, or DM me the word Xmas on Instagram at the Buyer and Retail Coach, and I'll send it to you directly. I'll be back again next week with another great guest, and I would love if you could leave a review. And in the meantime, make sure you follow me on socials at the Buyer and Retail Coach, and I will see you again soon.